Welcome to Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, prescribed by Dr. Harrison. So I don't have any advice today. I'm actually looking for some advice and for some help. I figured this would be a great platform to share and see if people are going to respond to this. So, I talk about champion, your kids' interests and their skills and whatever they're interested in or they're really good at, really try to boost them up in those things for talent-wise later on in life. But something happened 2 days in a row that's got me a little bewildered. Like, I don't know how else to put it. So my middle son, Alam, is very perceptive. Like he observes a lot. Like he's like me, he's a people watcher. And he watches and he sits back, but he's also very social. He's very loving too. Like he's one of the kids that comes up and just says, I love you for no reason. Or anytime he's walking through school, he's just like, hey. So I have to premise this by saying I know a lot of my professional friends in the science world are going to be like, whoa. Wait a minute. Are you really going there? Yeah, I am. Okay, I'm going to start talking some spiritual, medium type stuff. Now, a good scientist has philosophical doubt and is skeptical of everything, right? We test everything. We investigate. We discover. We see if things are real or if they're not. And for me, I'm not going to just push things like mediums and spiritualists to the side just because I haven't had enough interaction or documentation to show that these things are real. Now, I've seen shows. I know that there have been studies done with respect to meditation and respect to people being able to have stronger senses than other people, and especially being able to build those up with practice. So that's why I don't toss it out. I just don't have enough information to say it's not real. So I'm being a good scientist in that respect. So here are the two things that happened. First off, we were watching a show called Brain Games. And they show all these things that trick your mind through illusion and perception and all these different kind of things. And they were saying how people could actually pick the nominee or candidate who won a political race just based off of a picture comparing them with their opponents. So they showed up a bunch of pictures of the two candidates that ran against each other, and you got to pick. And I'm thinking, I picked all of them right. But my observation skill was, well, they look more personable. They look a little warmer. They're smiling. They look like somebody that people can connect with better than this other person. This other person looks drab. They look like they just got rolled out of bed, maybe hungover, didn't have a good makeup artist. So I'm taking all these little variables into account. Alam picks all the same ones as well, and he got them all right. And I was explaining, well, this is why I did him. He was like, no, that's not how I picked him. And I was like, well, how'd you pick him? He was like, well, when I saw him, I picked the ones who had more light around them. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, just like their face, they had more light around their face. And at first I thought like, okay, photography light, but some of the pictures were just as bright holding up next to each other. Like he was talking about, I assume like some sort of light of aura, right? I don't know. But I was like, maybe it's photography light. Maybe he's talking skin color. I don't know. But he was just saying, no, light. Like he couldn't explain it. Like there's just more light around them. And I was like, okay, I guess. All right, that's cool. Well, you got them all right. And I thought about it for a little, about 30 minutes later, and I was just kind of like, that was just kind of weird. But whatever, that's cool. You got them all right anyways. Maybe he's just super observant in a different way. And then the next day, we had our hangout. And, like I said, I have an individual hangout time each week with one of the boys just so they can get one-on-one time with daddy. And with Alam, we went and did some stuff, and then we decided to go hit the park. And so we go to this park. And again, me being very observant, I saw that there was a young father, and it looked like maybe his sister or his new girlfriend, and another woman, and then their son. And so the other woman and the young father were obviously the mom and dad of the boy. But you could tell like it was a visitation of some sort to where mom had to be supervised and mom and dad weren't together anymore. But I don't know if that other woman was new girlfriend or sister, but every time mom went off to play with the little boy, the other lady would get up and run over and like be around him to kind of watch him like a hawk. And, you know, there was no malice. No one was upset. Everyone was smiling and having a good time playing with the little boy. And I kept watching, and I was just watching this interaction unfold. And I was thinking to myself, like, I wonder, my thought was like, I've already figured out that this is a visitation, and that's mom and dad. And it looks like dad really wants mom back, but mom's struggling with some things in life. She just looked like she was struggling a little bit. But the other lady, I kept being like, who's this lady? Like, I'm just not sure, right? So I was just curious, and I was observing. But then I looked over and I caught my son observing while we were at the park. And he was watching them too. And as we left, I was like, well, did you have fun? He was like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, why? Why didn't you have fun? He's like, well, you know that little boy? And I was like, yeah. He's like, mind you, there's no other kids in the park. He's like, you know the little boy? And I was like, yeah, what about him? He's like, I feel really bad for him. And we hadn't talked about the situation. We hadn't talked about what I observed or assumption I was making. And I was like, what do you mean you feel really bad for him? He's like, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel really bad for him. And I was like, well, you got to have a reason for feeling bad for somebody. You just can't just feel bad. He's like, don't you ever just feel bad for people? And I was like, that's an interesting sympathy, empathy, intuition. Like, did he just pick that up without understanding what the potential variables were in this situation or this event? Did he observe all of that? Did he internalize that in some sort of way? It just baffled me. The light around people in pictures and I feel bad for this kid, even though you had no interaction with him and you saw him playing and running around with these two women. So I don't know, but I'm trying to be a good scientist and put feelers out there for what people think and get responses. So if you're a medium, if you are, super intuitive, if you do some sort of healing, if you are a psychic, if you are a spiritualist, a shaman, like I don't care what branch you come from with respect to that. I just want to know, one, am I overreacting to this? Was this really nothing, just a kid being super insightful? Because kids are really intuitive. They are, and they're smarter and more intuitive than we give them credit for. So am I overreacting? Or are you feeling what I'm feeling, that was just kind of like, And if it was, what do I do with that? I mean, is that a skill that's practiced? Is there, someone he can go and talk to see about stuff like that? I mean, I know it might sound ridiculous to some of my science friends, but I don't care. You got to admit, those two events, pretty weird to happen in 2 days in a row. So I'm reaching out. Anyone who has some advice or suggestions, let me know. All right? Hit me up. I'll put the email right here. Elam, he's my middle child. Long hair. Super fun. But I might need some help on this. And we talked about it takes a village, right? Well, here's me reaching out. So shoot me some information. All right, that's Doc's Daily Dose for Dads. Don't forget to hashtag Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, hashtag 4D, all social media at rebirthbx. Check out the website, rebirthbx.com. Let's see, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. Again, here's my email address to hit me up. Help me out here. And I'll be back tomorrow with some actual advice. Or if I get some sort of cool suggestion, I'll share what the hell happened there too. All right, you guys.